Harris?
All right, I see nodding heads.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Buck McMurray.
Ryan Napierski.
Let's go, you guys. Hey, listen, we are Buck and I, Ryan Napierski, CEO of New Skin Enterprise, sitting here with Buck McMurray, North America Region President. Buck, this is going to be a good call.
Yeah.
So, I think we should take a few minutes to just kind of set up what we're trying to accomplish here,
Yeah.
Buck, and we all know that, here at New Skin, we've been really diving into this global intelligent wellness movement. And we've been pursuing this. You and I have been deeply immersed in this for the last year as we've prepped for Prysm coming out. And the reality is that the world's shifting so fast in this space that we feel there's a need to really provide a forum for weekly updates with our team, all of you that have zoomed in on this, to really give you guys the latest global trends, the latest insights into what we are doing here at New Skin to capture those trends, and then to provide you with actionable insights into those trends. And I appreciate we're really borrowing a movement that we kicked off over a year ago called MBSB.
Yeah.
So Mind, Body, Spirit, Business, where we started to just talk about personal development. And we've had a lot of these guys that I'm seeing on the call. Jeff Warburton's been running this for us, Frank Gibson, Charlie Patterson, Nick. We've had our Europe teams involved. But we want to leverage this platform and open it up and expand it to everybody who wants to participate, that are interested in this massive global wellness movement, on how to capture it, with New Skin leading the way. And we're going to talk about that with Prysm.io and what's right in front of us, like literally right now. And then again, we want to bring on leaders, some of you as kind of guests in our live podcast forum, to talk about what you're doing to win in this space. And so that's kind of the purpose here, Buck.
Yeah, Ryan, I get so excited about this because we, on a regular basis, we get to hear the success stories.
Yeah.
And we get to experience them firsthand. And we get to see them firsthand. But I think this is going to give us an opportunity so that everybody gets to see what's happening. There's a book that I read a number of years ago called Good to Great. And in that book, they talk about the flywheel, these big, heavy wheels that take a lot of momentum to get going at the very beginning. And I feel like that's where we're at right now, where we've got this incredible innovation. We are positioned right. We're going to talk a little bit about where the market is going and what size of opportunity there is. But we're starting to see this flywheel start to spin, and it's a responsibility among all of us to push that and get it going even faster than ever before. And this forum gives us an opportunity to share that energy and excitement across the globe. So my only challenge to everyone is every week, promote this, bring people here. Like, have this be a part of your updates for your teams, your organizations, and let's start the flywheel spinning faster than ever before.
Let's do it. And by the way, if anyone, if you're on this call and you're thinking about, hey, I should be sending this call out to anybody right now, send them the link right now, text them, tell them to jump on the call. We're going to try to keep this call to no longer than about 45 minutes. Dan McCormick, I saw you on there. I know your Saturday morning meetings. I hope this gives you more content to push all of you as you're working with your teams. The goal is to get you the information that you need to drive your business. But again, to take it down to an extremely actionable level. Here's what the call's not going to do. We're not going to be making any claims on this call. This is not a call where we're going to be talking about areas of disease or anything that that's going to get us in trouble, because frankly, the opportunity is big enough the way it is.
Yeah.
And so this is what this is all about. So we want to just jump into this, Buck, and we're going to set it up. And by the way, one other thing we're going to do on this call is we're going to leverage a lot of AI throughout the call. For all of you on the call, I hope you are diving into AI, whether you're using ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, Gemini, well, you're all using it whether you know it or not. Every time you use your Google browser, you're now using Gemini. But we're utilizing AI to just get the greatest, latest information up here. And so I was playing around with this morning, Buck.
Yeah.
And I want to share this because you've all heard us talk about Global Wellness Institute's report where they talk about a $6.8 trillion wellness movement that's taking place right now. Now, here's what's more interesting, right? So when you think about trillions of dollars, by 2028, Global Wellness Institute projects that this is going to become $9 trillion. By 2029, they're projecting $10 trillion. Now, put that in the context. That's roughly half of the size of the US, the world's largest economy in wellness, right? So we're talking about products, services, aesthetics, beauty. We're talking about even travel and leisure, the fitness industry. That's a huge number. But when you actually interpret that number, so I dumped that number into ChatGPT and I said, estimate for me how many new people are joining this movement every year. If it's growing by $1 trillion a year, how many people are joining this thing? And it came back, and again, this is according to Chat, 140 to 160 million middle class consumers are joining the wellness movement every single year. Now, put that in context. That is roughly
half the population of the United States.
Nearly half the population of the United States. It's roughly half the population of Western Europe. It's what is that? 2.5 times the population of South Korea. It's twice the population of Japan. We're talking about entire countries joining the wellness movement every single year in some way, shape, or form. And that's like, to me, that's just huge.
Yeah. The amazing thing I've been on the road the last little bit in all these markets talking a little bit about why.
Yeah.
And we know that fruits and vegetables are one of the number one indicator of wellness and health. And so I started looking at what percentage across the globe of individuals are eating their fruits, recommended levels of fruits and vegetables. And it's roughly, I looked down in Latin America, you're like 6%, 8%. Argentina is 6%. Here in North America, you talk to the number of people, or you look at the number of people that think they're living healthy, that eating a healthy diet. 80% of Americans believe they're eating a healthy diet. But less than 10% are eating the recommended daily fruits and vegetables. And this is like the gap. The problem that we see is that we think we're doing well, but the majority of us are not. And that means we're not getting the levels of antioxidants and carotenoids that are going to allow us to live a meaningful, healthy life. Mm-hmm. And so this I see as the gap. People are going to continue to go that way because they think they're doing well, but they're not. And that's why we're going to continue to see growth within this wellness movement.
Yeah. I mean, if you like double click on that. So I was up in Seattle last weekend, talking with another group that's kind of diving into this, and it was interesting. We've all heard the stats before, but the comment from this other CEO, he said an avocado grown today has 1/20th of the nutritional content than if you grew and ate that avocado back in 1950 because of soil, regeneration in the soil. So even if you are eating that, the nutrified content of those goods have just decreased. But what I think is really interesting, Buck, about the point of what we think we're doing and what we're actually doing is fueling that second round of wearables, right? And intelligent wearables. And so again, Global Wellness Institute talks about $84 billion a year being, and by the way, that's growing to $136 billion a year over the next 3 years in wearables, because people are interested. Again, if there's that number of people coming in, but everyone has a misperception of what they're actually doing versus what they think they're doing. The wearable market, again, whether it's a watch, whether it's a ring, whether it's a glucose monitors, it's all about actually understanding what you're doing
Yeah.
and having the data behind it
Yeah.
to back it up
Yep.
or to refute
Yep.
what your mind thinks you're doing.
Yeah, this is the crazy thing. So I looked up another stat this past week, and it said in the U.S. alone, we're spending $40 to $60 billion a year on supplements.
Yeah.
So we think we're eating healthy.
460 billion globally.
Yeah,
60 billion in the US.
Yeah, 60 billion in the United States. And so we think we're eating healthy, but at the same time, we're like, man, I need supplements.
Yeah.
And so obviously, as we come into this space where we're going to have wearables, and all of a sudden we're going to be able to see what's our nutrition doing, how is our exercise, how are we moving, how are we sleeping, how are we resting. It's going to make that gap so apparent that people will be now empowered more than ever before to take the right types of supplements and to start moving in ways that are going to impact their health in a much more meaningful way.
It's huge. So as we think about this, and by the way, for those of you on the call, if you have thoughts or questions as you go, dump them into the chat here. We're going to try to get to some questions or some thoughts, and we've got Jeff Nemelka and Don Dorton here behind the fourth wall, so we may have them screaming out some of this for us so we can dive into it. But as you're thinking through this yourselves, I'd love to make it a more interactive so that you're not just listening to Buck and me on this, because I know each of us have been turning on this. Frank, I know I'm calling you out because you're like headlong into all these trends that are going on here too. So if you have thoughts, dump them in there, and we'll call some of those out. But to keep going down this path, Buck. Yeah. So my friend Chat. So I think of ChatGPT as, and I don't want to get too far off track with AI, but ChatGPT, we're doing a lot with this at Newskin. We have an enterprise instance of Chat. But I look at Chat as kind of my personal R2D2, yeah. Right? So as Luke Skywalker's flying the plane, he's got R2D2 in the back. Yeah. Chat's kind of that for me. So I'm constantly in the morning, I'm interactive journaling with Chat on my own personal development, on just trends that we're seeing in the business. How can we look at things differently? So as I was going down this wellness thing this morning, a couple of other things that came out that I think are interesting to call out. One is, again, where are so if the growth is happening at $1 trillion a year, where are the biggest opportunities for growth coming from in that category? Yeah. Here's what I thought was really interesting, right? So it started with the product categories. So it said the biggest ones that are coming up, obviously sleep. So we're all seeing like massive push on sleep, sleep scores, whether it's 8 Sleep, whether it's Oura Ring.
Apple Watch
now tracks it. Even Garmin does it, but frankly, I get sleep anxiety because of it, because I sleep so poorly. Yeah. Energy, massive focus there. Weight management, of course. So tracking BMI, tracking all of that. Stress, and then the fifth one is cognitive performance. Yeah. What's underpinning all of those product categories, though, is intelligence. Yeah. And in other words, the understanding what we were just talking about, having the ability to measure what matters. Biofeedback. And so it was going through that, and that was very interesting to me. And so then I went one more round, and then let's talk about that. So then I said, okay, so if this is massive growth, who are going to be the winners in the wellness game, right? So if we're playing a game, and again, it's whether you like Simon Sinek's infinite game theory, whatever. I love the idea of we're playing a game. The game is $9 trillion or $10 trillion by 2029. Massive growth coming in, 140 to 160 million people joining this. Who's going to win the game? Here's what Chat came back and said. He said he said the winners will be those who close the loop. And then he goes into the future of wellness. Closing the loop is measure, interpret, act, and then verify improvement. Yeah. Measure, interpret, act, verify improvement. Yeah. Now, so I look at this and I'm sitting there, Buck, saying, we've just introduced Prysm.io. Yeah. Right? And we're not going to get in. I'm not going to disclose any data because we're publicly traded. I can't do that until after our release. We've just implemented the world's first non-invasive nutrition health score monitor with Prysm.io that measures, interprets, acts, and verifies improvement. So exactly what chat's saying you got to do to win across sleep, energy, weight, stress, cognitive performance. We translate to diet, fitness, lifestyle, and supplementation.
Yep.
But this is like exactly what chat is telling us. Those who are going to win in this $9 to $10 trillion race over the next 3 to 4 years need to provide.
Yeah. And we're right in the space.
We're right in the space.
And we've got the solutions. It's so when it says act, I interpret that as you have something to solution based off of that. So, yeah. I mean, with Prysm, you're looking at nutrition, your behaviors, but then the supplementation. And to your point, you know, I think the avocado, is now the most common avocado across the world is the Hess avocado. Somebody just manipulate it and they're like, this is the best avocado, but that's not how avocados normally work. But it's those companies it's the individuals that look at that and say, okay, I am going to eat better. And I think there was a study that actually came out of UCLA on the S3 scanner that said that this was, not only is it accurate, but it said that it is the number one device in changing behavior. And so when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to the behaviors like sleep and stress and exercise, and on top of that, supplementation, this is the perfect device to help people take the action and start seeing the results that will help them improve their lives, to help them look, feel, and live better longer.
Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. The you know, and maybe segueing a little bit into you know, something that's coming here in the next couple of weeks. We've got Dr. Joe Chang. We all know Joe has been our chief science officer here at Nu Skin for more than 25 years. I think he's going on 26 right now. He leads our scientific advisory board now, chairman of our scientific advisory board, New York Times bestselling author. Joe wrote a book back in 2011 called The Aging Myth, which, by the way, Joe should have trademarked and patented and whatevered every concept in that book. Yeah. Because I went back and read it while we're re-releasing this in the next couple of weeks. I think February 5th. This book's coming out, 3 new chapters being added to it on everything we're talking about. I mean, the power of M's, which he'll get into. You got to read the book. It's going to be the ebook. You can download it on any of your platforms. We'll have Joe on this podcast here. I just did a podcast that's dropped. It's on Empower Podcast. If you haven't listened to that yet with Joe, we've got just like Jeff. We've got Joe coming on. But when I was rereading that book, it was fascinating to me. The concept in the book that I think is absolutely paramount in this global wellness movement is the concept of lifespan versus health span. Yeah. And again, that term health span,
you've heard it all over the place now.
It's everywhere, right? It's every single wellness podcast, like the most significant influencers in the space, whether it's Atia, whether it's Huberman, whether it's Brian Johnson, all these guys are talking about the quality of the years lived versus the quantity of years lived is really the focus now. And we're having an expanded, you know, as longevity occurs, right? People are factually living longer than we did 100 years ago, more than 20 years longer now than 100 years ago. That's going to continue as healthcare, as improvement as biotechnologies occur, even this movement going on. We're just living more healthy. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if did your dad work out every day?
No.
Did he measure his macros?
No.
Did he wear wearables that tracked it? Mine didn't either. Right? He would pump some iron. My dad would get up there and he'd get to 25 pounds. I'd wake up to him, you know. But it's because of all that, we're living longer. The problem is our sedentary lifestyle, literally white collar work. We're not working in fields. Yeah. So our bodies have less stress oxidatively, but we're getting massively, as we're living longer, we're having to take care of ourselves. And so this idea that Joe talked about in 2011 of improving your health span as our lifespans improve, I think this is just like, it truly was revolutionary at the time. Now it's become mainstream. Everyone understands the quality of the years we live are as important, frankly, more important.
Yeah.
I would rather live 70 years of high quality than 80 years with 10 years of terrible quality.
Right.
But if I could have both and live 80 years
Yeah.
and have 80 years of or 79.5 years of high quality, that's what we're all shooting for.
Right. Yeah, exactly. My neighbor, he just passed away like last week. And it was amazing to see how active and everything that he was doing up until just a couple of months ago when things just turned. And I was like, man, that was the most incredible life, because he was living like the very best up until the very end. And I was like, when I went to his funeral, it was just amazing to hear like how active and all the things that he did and how was able to spend time with kids. But Ryan, I want to talk a little bit about the demand for this. So, we talk about the market, how it's expanding, but in reality, are we seeing that people right now, this is future that we're talking about, but right now, are people wanting this and needing it? And my response is absolutely. So there's a couple of proof points, and I hope I'm not sharing too much here, but you guys just recently went down to an investor conference.
Yeah.
And Craig Bryson, you've said this multiple times. Craig Bryson says that investors are consumers.
Yeah.
And the way that you talk with investors and share the vision and the products with the investors is the way that the consumers will respond.
Yeah.
And our affiliates will respond. And I saw you go to this conference.
Yeah. And by the way, that was Craig's point. It was actually investors are exactly like business owners.
Yes.
Like, so what propels an investor to invest in the company is exactly what propels those of you on the call that are here as brand affiliates or brand reps. The reason you join the business, right, is you're looking for a business opportunity that has significant upside, that aligns with the trends in the market, the growth, where people are heading.
Yeah.
And so that was his point with around the business.
So you guys went down there.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, the teams that were there, you had so many conversations about Prysm. You had investors that were finding you and talking to you guys, like searching you out and say, tell me about this device. What does it do? Like, how does it work? Having incredible conversations. And all I saw was the next day, stock price goes up 10%.
Yeah.
Because of the excitement and the energy that came from that experience and having those types of conversations at that conference.
Yeah, well, it was. I mean, I think first of all, the conference that we went to, ICR, and by the way, I think there's a link out there. We did a fireside there where we talk about the trends and what's going on. But yeah, absolutely. What was interesting to me is the shift at the conference.
Yeah.
Companies like Lululemon were there, like just the general interest in wellness overall was at the conference. By the way, Krispy Kreme was also there, but then we had 8 Sleep there, right? And so being able to be amongst that group and talk about where the world is heading, that wasn't the game changer, though.
Yeah.
That really wasn't the game changer. The game changer is and was with Prysm. We are introducing an entirely new biomarker into the world.
Yeah.
And I want to restate that. We are introducing an entirely new biomarker to the world. So if you think of the most prevalent biomarkers today, HRV, heart rate variability, BMI, body mass index, VO2 max, so your body's ability to absorb oxygen, sleep scores, right? Really, it's a configuration of HRV basically, and all that. All of those are. And we won't even get to the medical ones. Those are simply the consumer-facing biomarkers that we utilize. All of those have been basically the same biomarkers that have existed since the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s. HRV or VO2 max is probably the newest one that we're understanding on the fitness side, and it's been 20 years worth of science behind those. What's interesting on biomarkers today is there is no biomarker. Again, I'm hoping everyone's slowing down intentionally. There's no biomarker to measure nutritional health.
Yeah.
And so that was the piece that was so interesting. And that's the piece that I believe is so interesting for all of our brand affiliates around the world to be able to go out and help people understand. Again, this is all about helping people understand. It's not about selling supplements. It's not about selling prisms. It's about helping people to understand their nutritional health at a level that they've never before understood.
Yeah.
And then understanding that biomarker. So I sat with one. I sat with one analyst, and this guy, his wife, is spending. I asked him. I said, how much? Because he went through his protocol. So he got scanned on Prysm.
Yeah.
And he was upset because his score came in at 380.
Yeah.
Right. So he gets upset about it, and he's like, guys, my wife buys me these supplements, and I spend probably north of. I asked him, how much are you spending? He says, probably north of $600 a month on these supplements, and I'm scoring in the yellow.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, yellow's not terrible. It's not orange or red. It's definitely on the lower half of the scale. And so he said, what is going on? And so I sat with him, and we were just talking through. Well, first of all, he's not taking an omega.
Yeah.
Right. So what's happening is that he might be eating good supplements or compounds, but in order for a compound to actually be meaningful in your body, as we know, you got to take it in. It's got to go to the gut. Your microbiome has to digest it, get it to the bloodstream, and then get it out to the organs.
Right.
And so what I was trying to describe to him, because he's looking at this device, he says, how can this device do that?
Yeah.
And I said, no, it's very simple. We scan the very tip of your finger, right? Multispectral LED, we're scanning the very tip of your finger. We know whether or not what you put into your mouth is actually absorbed into your largest organ, which is the body.
Skin, your tissues.
All the way to the tissue level. So my comment to him and in walking him through this, what was helpful for me, I mean, I've now scanned, this is the funnest product for me. I've scanned well over 500 people.
Yeah.
I've scanned my race team. I've scanned my family. I've scanned a ton of investors. I've scanned neighbors, family, friends. It's what's fun about it is literally it invokes this conversation. As soon as they see the nutritional health score, they want to know. The next question is, well, the first question is, what is the score?
Right.
And I'm like, what's your nutritional health? Okay, how do I change it? How do I improve it? And that was his question. I said, listen, I don't care if you use our supplements. What I do know is our supplements are guaranteed
to work.
yeah. or your money back.
Right.
They're guaranteed to work. But what I can tell you is whether or not what you're doing is absorbing into your organs.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we eat. If it passes through us, literally, without it being absorbed, there's zero value.
Waste of money.
And that's what I look at around the world today. We've scanned hundreds personally, and I come across all of these leading brands, and I'm talking with, and they're spending hundreds of dollars at Whole Foods, at GNC, on Amazon, and then they're asking me, why is my score so low? And my answer to that is, we're not here to disparage any products because I love the health journey. What I wanted to make certain is people that are on this journey and that are becoming self-aware about their nutritional health, that they're doing it in a way that optimizes the effort that they are making into this thing.
Yeah.
And then there's a second half. So that's the first half of people that we scan, is the people that are trying to understand it. The second half of people are the people that don't yet prioritize their health.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I find fascinating because, listen, we're willing to spend $6.29 on a cup of coffee at Starbucks. We're willing to spend an average of $7. I think Stephen Moore, I took this from Stephen if he's on the call, $7 for a breakfast sandwich, right? We're spending $13 a day on average on a fast food meal.
Yep.
And yet we're unwilling to spend $1 a day, $3 a day, or for a premium Life Pack Nano, $5 a day.
Yeah.
Like, this is where, to me, the other half of the world. So when we talk about the $1 trillion growth opportunity, every year, 140 to 160 million consumers estimated to be joining this. There's this massive awakening that's happening in the market.
Yeah.
Because these people are realizing we're sedentary, we're eating poorly. And if I'm spending money on coffee, if I'm spending money on fast food, should I be alternatively, and I'm not saying get away from coffee, but I'm saying if you prioritize your wake up time at $6.29, shouldn't you be prioritizing a $5 comprehensive nutritional supplement?
Yeah.
I mean, it's when you put it in those numbers, it's like we need to help the world. And that's where our team comes in. This is where we need to help the world understand this 140 to 160 million people. You deserve to know whether your supplements are working. You deserve to know whether your diet is optimized. You deserve to know whether the lack of sleep, Ryan, I'm talking to myself, 4 to 5 hours a night, and it shows up on my Prysm score, and I do that for a week and my score drops 80 points. Listen, oxidative stress is not being counterbalanced with recovery. Again, forget supplement.
Right.
I got to start sleeping better. Now, we just happen to have Mind 360 to help us do that. Or on my fitness program, we got TR to help that. So in addition to youth, we have all the solutions. This is my point.
So Ryan, you mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to just like put a pin in. Is one is you've been out scanning people. And your belief is off the charts. It's probably higher today than it was like when we just had prototypes. And now, because you've been out scanning a few hundred people, it's like you see the demand, you see the need, you've heard the questions, you've seen how people respond. In fact, you have a better shtick, a better story than probably most people here at corporate. I'll say I've scanned hundreds of people myself. So at home, my family, we set up a booth with our R&D team at the BYU game. People came in droves and wanted to understand what their nutritional health score was. And the amazing thing about that is the more people that you're scanning, you start to understand, here's what's relevant, here's what's meaningful, these are the emotions and the hot buttons to talk about. Here are the objections. Here are some of the things that people are going to be like, oh, what's this? Or how does this compare to my supplements that I'm using right now, like a once daily vitamin? And when you start hearing those, then it gives you the questions to know to be able to say, okay, I've got to research. Now, can we jump into action?
Well, so there's a couple of questions, Buck, that applies to that. And then we're going to get to action here before we go, because it's like, okay, great. These are all great trends. These are all amazing stats. How do we go to action? And you want to talk about that. There's just a couple of questions that came through here that I want to address. And I think, I'm going to provide my perspective on this. You all are leaders. You know this. So this is just Ryan's opinion. Take it for what it is. I think there's a couple of danger zones with Prysm that I believe, just from my experience and from even talking with a lot of you and your experiences, that we got to be careful around Prysm. The more complicated we make this product, the more we are going to isolate the ability for the broad population to understand. So let me break it down in actual quantified numbers. According to a recent study, approximately 55% of the population does not actively participate in any sort of measurement diagnostic or assessment capability. In other words, 55% of the population is not or are not wearing wearables where they're actually tracking those. Now, the positive side is 45% of the population are wearing some form of wearable, or they're tracking, or they're going to a gym where they're getting real-time feedback. They have a nutritionist, whatever. So first of all, again, roughly half of the population today is not even tracking it, okay? 25% of the population are, 45 are tracking with wearables, but about 25% of that, so 55, then you got 25, are actually actively participating with some kind of wearable, but they're what I would call like intelligent wellness novices, because these are people that, they're wearing a Garmin, they're wearing an Oura ring, they're wearing a Whoop, they're tracking their sleep score, but they don't really understand the technicalities of the information, the data that they're getting through that. And then you've got the remaining, so if you take what is that? Is that 15%? Who are actually what I would call the biohackers, right? So these are the people that are heavily involved. They tend to be, maybe they're vegan, right? They're excessive, they're ultra runners, they're heavy fitness people. These are the people that nutritionists, clinicians, it's the doctors' practices, it's the people doing blood work. So if you think about the broad population, there are kind of those big three swaths of people. It's really important for us to know you don't go approach the 55% of the population with the biohacking story.
Right.
All they need to know is, are your fruits and vegetables getting absorbed into your body?
Right.
Period.
Let me share a stat that I just looked up on ChatGPT. This was from 2013, so it may be better now.
Yeah.
But I asked ChatGPT what percentage of the population understands what an antioxidant is.
Yeah.
And how many of you guys, well, put in the comments what percentage of the population would understand what an antioxidant is. I'll give you a couple of minutes. I mean, do you have any guesses?
Well, in 2013, I would argue it's almost zero. Yeah, probably.
Okay, so the law of numbers, right? You take the average of all the answers that we're getting. It said 8% in 2013 understood what an antioxidant is. And I'd be willing to bet today, maybe it's a little bit higher.
By 20 to 30.
And so if we go out the gates and we're talking free radicals, antioxidants, oxidative stress, carotenoids, flavonoids, polyphenols,
you're losing
them
way more than half of the market.
And so the need, we've got to talk about the needs that people find. What are the reasons they're taking a multivitamin right now, and then start to speak at that level and that language.
I think it's absolutely paramount. And again, you guys know the people you're talking to, and you do this naturally, right? When you approach somebody, this is just human nature. We meet them on their level, right? So very quickly, is this a novice? Is this somebody that's truly brand new to the journey? And because they're not wearing a wearable, or if they're already wearing a wearable, now they're in the other half. Yeah. In the other half, now you can get a little more specific of like, okay, let's go a little bit deeper into a carotenoid, an antioxidant. If you're talking to a biohacker, some of the questions coming up on the board of, well, what exactly does the score mean or not mean? That's at a biohacking level. I would push you all, go to Nu Skin Product Insider. If you don't follow that on Instagram right now, look it up. Nu Skin Product Insider. Look at the bubbles at the top. You'll find all kinds of information there that talk more specifically about exactly what the score is, what it's measuring, how to explain it in a simple, social, postable way. But I would argue a lot of the questions coming through of, do we know what the impact on pregnancy? Do we know the impact of this? Guys, I'll tell you, we're in V1 of this journey. Yeah. I mean, let's be really clear. This is V1, right? The Prysm we just launched, and the app, by the way, we just pushed another upgrade. We went from the app of 1.4 to 1.5. Those of you that own a Tesla, those of you that wear wearables, every time we push an upgrade in the app, the product gets 5 to 10% better. Every quarter, as we put a new version of the app, so we're in 1.4, just went to 1.5 last night. New enhancements to that app come out. New insights that you can glean from that app are dropping right now. Q2, we're dropping version 2.0, which is a much more deeper customer experience, so more data coming. So if you drive a Tesla, this, or an EV, every time there's a new version of the operating system, or in your iPhone, right? We're on, I think it's 23.6, as Apple's on 23.6. We're on 1.5, right? We're in the early stage of this. The data and intelligence that's coming out on Prysm.io, every drop, every sprint, which is roughly 3 weeks, is getting better. And I should note here, so my point is, let's not get too technical yet. Let's go after the market that just deserves to know their nutritional health score and how to change that. And the way you change it, diet, fitness, lifestyle. And if you can't change any of those 3 easily, because it's really hard to change your diet. Yeah. I've tried to go vegan. I made it 3 days. It's so hard. Yeah. Try to put in a new exercise regimen. I'm trying to increase my VO2 max now. I have been pushing on this thing for 4 months. Yeah. And I've got 2 points up, right? It's so hard. It's sleep. I can't figure out how to sleep more than 6 hours a night. Even with mind, I went from 5 to 6. Those are hard. Yeah. The biohack, to use the term, is supplementation. Yeah. It's so easy for me to take my youth every morning. When I get to the office, I take G3 and I take my nano. Yeah. So supplements are the biohack, but that's where I think we need to start the journey and not overwhelm. One other thing, and then let's go to action, because you're going to lead that. Right. The one other thing we should note, 1.5 just dropped on this app. Now, Buck, I am excited about this update. So for those of you, if you have not updated your firmware, so go in and do that and update your app as well. Just go into settings, top right corner, update your firmware and update that. And you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to check every 2 to 3 weeks. Is there a new firmware upgrade?
Correct.
Firmware is in the actual Prysm.
I'll be home
The
this
app is,
evening.
of course, what's on your phone. You need to be updating it.
Meeting
So
until
1.5 just
5 or
dropped
6.
last night. There is a new assessment scale that just dropped. And some of you are going to be upset. You're going to be disappointed because the purple zone has increased on the app. Now, you may be asked, in other words, so I was at the bottom of purple. I've been working so hard to get to purple, and I got there. And I went on this morning, and I'm back at blue. Now, my score didn't change. The range changed. Let me describe why it changed. And you guys, you can read about it. It's in the app. The scoring changed because we just got work back on, and I'm not going to get into the science behind that, but a study that came out, independent study that's come out based upon over 500,000 scans on the Prysm. As we've now looked at that and we've assessed it against independent studies on optimal carotenoid levels in the blood, which is approximately, it puts the benchmark at around 600 to 750. And so at 750, the purple, basically what we've done is we've shifted purple up to what the science says is the right level. Now, let me be real clear. This is not assessing, this is not in replacement of blood. And again, I said what we're not going to do on this call. We are not making claims. So I'm being very overt. This is not, although we have blood serum, Prysm correlations, and we'll dive into that in the coming weeks. Everything that's set here is around a science-backed, science-based, intelligent device. Every time we get new data, the app will get better. The intelligence is getting stronger. So with that new intelligence and with over 500,000 scans, by the way, with S3, 500,000 scans would have taken us about 2 years to get. Okay. So we got 500,000 scans in 6 weeks. I mean, this is just telling you the massive level of adoption of this thing. The new science, we're getting smarter. And so you can expect that the intelligence in this device is getting better and better. And I just want to earmark this thing or benchmark it for all of you. On my Garmin, and I'm using this, I use my Garmin religiously for training. I hate it for sleep. It gives me sleep anxiety. But something happened when I went from my Phoenix 6 or 7 to my Phoenix 8 watch. So the version. With the Phoenix 8, you can now track HRV, heart rate variability. So my fitness age versus my biological age was 52. My fitness age was 26, according to Phoenix 7. They upgraded to Phoenix 8, and it gave them HRV. As soon as they implemented HRV, heart rate variability, into my fitness age, my age jumped from 26 to 40. And Buck, I was so disappointed. I was like, I just lost 14 years of fitness age. But their answer was, we just got smarter. We have more intelligence on HRV, and therefore we're going to more accurately assess where you are. So I say that as a corollary. This device is getting smarter and better with more insights and more information. Every sprint, every version, it gets better. And I say that only because for those of you that are out there moving with it, you have to know you're holding an intelligent device. We're utilizing AI to inform, to power, to take clinical studies that we're conducting, independent clinicals, where we're assessing what is going on in nutritional health, and then combining it with literally hundreds of thousands of real-time Prysm scans to smarten or make that score smarter.
There is, have you heard of Replit? Replit's an AI engine that will write code. And I was listening to a podcast with the founder of Replit, and he was saying, you guys, this is the worst that this software will ever be. This is the worst it will ever be. And I think of Prysm the same way. This right now, what you're experiencing and how good it is, this is the worst it will ever be. From here, it's only going to get so much better. I mean, it's massive. So let's talk about ACT.
Shift to ACT.
So I was listening to there's a podcast that I love that's all about chief sales officers, chief revenue officers. And he interviews these guys to talk a little bit about how they approach businesses, or how they approach launching and scaling businesses. And they interviewed specifically the CEO, or the chief revenue officer of Okta. Now, some of you guys might know what Okta is. It's a software used in corporations to do not multivariate testing, but it's logins. So that's when they have you do multiple logins. And they're a multi-billion-dollar-a-year company. But this guy was with them when they started at MIT. And he said that in his first month, he went out and met with 100 businesses. Because as he was meeting with those businesses, he was refining the pitch. He was seeing how they were reacting. He was looking at, their eyes and how they were sitting back, or if they were folding their arms. And he said after that first month, he had the pitch refined to a point that he could go into specifically the businesses that he was targeting, and he knew he could sell them. And not only that, the other powerful part of that was he also knew how to empower others to do the same thing. He knew how to scale their sales organizations. Now, when I look at what we do here at Nu Skin, and what we've done for years, is we've got the brand rep preview that we do all across the globe. And I don't know, Ryan, the brand rep preview is not just like recognition. It's not, hey, you got to brand rep, you get the special, recognition. That's not what it's for. This is designed to get the device into the hands of our leaders across the company at the very beginning, so that they can understand, how is this going to work within my system? It gives them the chance to go out and meet with the 100 businesses, to meet with 100 people, to test, to try, to be the first ones to understand what it's going to take to be able to get the conversions and to talk about the product. And as they're refining that, once it goes live to all customers, all affiliates, the leaders already have an understanding of, how do we incorporate it? This is how we talk about it. When we're going through and scanning people, here are the words that we're using. And they know, based off of their own experience. I'll tell you, Ryan, the other day when we were scanning over at BYU before the basketball game, people were asking me about LifePack. We talk LifePack every single day, every day. But here I am in a situation where people are asking me in 30 seconds, what is my 10-second spiel for LifePack? It was not on the tip of my tongue. And because of that, I was just like, well, it's better than once a day. It's full of antioxidants. If 8% of the population knows what an antioxidant is, that's just going right over their head. And so we've got to make sure that as we're going to the market, that we're training our affiliates on how to talk about LifePack, how to talk about Elements, how to talk about Nano, $1, $3, $5 a day. I've also heard it explained that Elements has 20 antioxidants, LifePack has 40, Nano has 60, and so being able to have those talking points on the tip of your tongue so that you can explain the benefits of it, what it is, that's going to make it so that when we go live, you're able to scale it within your teams and your organizations, and they get the results. And that's where we start spinning that flywheel at a much faster pace.
I love it, Buck. And so I was just taking some notes. What you were talking about, action. So number one to me is build your belief, right? So there's nothing better. I literally scan myself every morning, not because my score is changing every morning, but not because of that. I am trying to just build my belief and understanding. Belief for me comes through understanding. And I like to see the variance. And then I like to look at myself and say, what did I do differently? What am I doing? And it's more very much trend line driven, right? So what I ate last night is not going to change my score.
Right.
What's changing my score over time is, what am I eating over time? Same with sleep, same with fitness, same with supplementation. You're seeing those changes. By the way, we're going to dive into this later. Steve Hatchett, whom we'll have on the podcast regularly, just told me about a study that's going on right now, literally closed out. You're going to see rapid acceleration to the time to see results clinically proven. So that's coming out. But daily score, so build your belief, number one, on yourself. The second one is share your story or share the story. And to your point, refining the pitch around that opportunity. If we're not scanning, literally myself, if I'm not scanning people, and I know I'm coming in from the CEO side, but I want to know exactly what these guys are going through. And so I'm literally scanning people every single day, and I'm trying to refine my pitch because my pitch is way too complicated. I go exactly right. Do you know what your score is? Do you know your nutritional health score? Well, what's that? Well, it's carotenoids and it's antioxidant and oxidative stress. And people just glass over.
Right.
And I need to get that story right for the right person. So it's refine your story. So build your belief, refine your story. And then the third one to me, and I go all the way back to where we started, is this is literally the largest economic movement. Whenever you see $1 trillion trend, think of all the focus and emphasis on AI right now. Jensen Huang, a $5 trillion market cap company on AI, $5 trillion. How long did it take for NVIDIA to get from $4 trillion value to $5 trillion value? It was roughly 6 months. Okay.
Gosh.
So if you think about it in this, guys, $1 trillion incremental market growth in 12 months in wellness is sustained over time, by the way, because it's taken them 4 years to get from less than 1 trillion to 5. So that's the type of trend we're talking about. For me right now, every single person on the planet who is interested in entrepreneurship, who is interested in getting into business for themselves, who is interested in all of the opportunity that is out there, this is their time. And every day, and this is my thing, every day that passes by is a missed day when you're talking about 140 million people coming in to 160 million per year into this movement. Divide that by 365 days. That's roughly 500,000 people a day entering this movement. So if I'm sitting there waiting to, well, listen, I want to get the app to 2.0. I want to wait for the consumer launch to start my business. Guys, every day there's 500,000 people joining this movement that you are personally missing out on. What's even more important is they're all around you right now. 1 out of every 2 people you're meeting is not wearing a wearable. And that's the number one indicator that they are not conscious of their wellness journey. They are the perfect market for educating them on, do you know what your nutritional health is? The others who are wearing it, that's your prime market. They're already in, but they have no biomarker. They're getting HRV, they're getting BMI, they're getting VO2 max. They have no ability to get the number one biomarker on nutritional health unless they get onto Prysm. We're the only company to provide that non-invasively. Non-invasively. I mean, otherwise you got to go to a doctor, you got to get blood work, you got to go to a clinic, you got to keep going back to that clinic every 30, 60, 90 days. Or you buy Prysm and you get your assessment and you can do it every day. And by the way, it doesn't cost once you bought it, you get there and then you're on the journey. So my whole thing, number 1, 2, 3 for me is build your belief, refine your story, and start talking to people about the business, because every day 500,000 people are coming into this thing and they need it.
And so you can't, I mean, here's the thing, you can't be afraid. Like I go into family events, it's like, I'm not afraid. I'm having these conversations. I've put in the time and studied enough about Prysm that I know how to talk about it, but you cannot be afraid. Start now, don't wait, because you're learning. And if you're delaying that, if you're not doing it, you're delaying the learning of how do we refine this? And you guys, if you're on this call and you're a leader, this is the responsibility of a leader. The responsibility of the leader is to be able to see what's coming, to see the innovation, and to empower your teams to be as productive as possible, to help them see the opportunity, to help them really move on it, and to have those benefits that come with a new skin business. So
I love it. And I know, by the way, I know when I said we're going to try to keep the call to 45 minutes, what I meant was 45 and then some Q&A. We've tried to address some of the general questions here. But I know we're up against the hour and we don't want to take any more of your time. I do want to just close out by saying, listen, we are doing this call every week, same time, same place, same link. We'll be advertising it, so we'll share it on social media. You're going to see it. If you have people in your team who are interested in leading out on this literal $1 trillion growth opportunity every single year that you want on the call, invite them, bring them here. We're not messing around. This is with 500,000 people coming in a day into this movement. This is something that we have got to lead out on. We're the only company on the planet with a nutritional health score, the only ability to measure that non-invasively, and by the way, provide solutions that are guaranteed within 60 days to improve your nutritional health. The only company in the world. If we're not bold, to your point, in sharing this message, and I get amped up about this, and I want you to know I'm doing it with you every day. I'm scanning, I'm assessing, I'm learning. This is going to change the world. I always come back to our mission, to be a global force for good by empowering people to look, feel, and live better. We have not had a product or a device that is more powerful at improving health span of humanity. And that's what we're going for. We've set that goal, 10 million healthy households. In other words, 10 million people on subscription by 2030. We've set the goal of 1 million in 2026, 1 million. We got about 300,000 right now. We got to go triple that with each of you. And I know with Prysm, we will do it. You've got the Prysm in your hand. If you don't have one yet, please order now. If you're a brand rep, order it now. Start building it. And we're going to utilize this call every week. You're going to hear more from leaders on this call of who's winning and how they're winning. This is a collective. I always say Nu Skin is a team sport, right? We're all on this. None of us are competing against each other. We are educating 8.9 billion people on this planet who deserve to know their nutritional health. And collectively, we are an army of entrepreneurs and empowerment evangelists that are going to make this happen. So we're going to be here every week. We're committed. Buck, myself, if one of us is traveling, we'll get someone else. We're going to have Steve Hatchett, our Chief Product Officer. We're going to have Joe Chang, our Chief Science Officer and Chairman of the Advisory Board. We'll have Justin Kiesel, our Global President. We're going to have leaders, each of you who are killing it. There's so many of you out there that are embracing this running. I'm hearing unbelievable stories, not only from the people who have known about the biophotonic scanner. We're hearing these stories from people who've never known anything other than beauty.
New brand reps.
And they're coming in, and one of them that I just heard yesterday, 50 Prysms sold in 3 weeks.
50 Prysms sold in 3 weeks.
So we're going to get her on the call, and we're going to listen to how she's doing that. We have success stories around the world. We want you to have the best practices. But I will tell you, getting off this call today, if you're not hitting 10 people within the next hour via text and saying, I got to talk with you about this revolution that's going on because I think you're right for it, we've failed in our job.
Right.
But between today and next Friday, hit 100 people. There's 100 people a week. And by the way, the easiest way to do that is post something on social media. If you have 100 or more followers, get going and sharing this. And then let's get back together next week, same time, same place. We're going to dive deeper into that. We will be publishing who will be on the call with us. We'll definitely have a guest speaker on that. I'm thinking very closely around Dr. Joe Chang. His book is releasing February 5th. Again, The Aging Myth. Put it in your calendars. Get ready to get it on Amazon. Wherever you buy your ebooks, get it. The last 3 chapters, by the way, he gets into biomarkers and biomeasurements, which line right up. So with that, we're going to close out.
Awesome. Ryan, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to be with you. This is Ryan Napierski. I'm Buck McMurray, and this is Prysm.io.
Thanks, guys.
Recording